In this video I want to show you how to draw the incline support that you see here on the left side of your screen. You won't actually be drawing the same part, but you will be drawing a part with similar features. And also in this video I'm going to show you how to create a layer. So we'll just go ahead and get started. By the way, I'll mention this in the directions, but the similar part that you create on your own, you are not responsible. Now, every submission is different, but the upcoming part that you'll draw on your own, the spacer plate, you won't be responsible for the title block that you see here. You know, all the information you see. You won't need to add dimensions to your drawing, nor will you add a center mark to the circle or circles that are in your drawing. All I want to see in your drawing are the lines and the circles. Okay, and of course everything is to be drawn in model space. So we'll just go ahead and get started, and I'll click on New. And if you don't have your startup dialog, your startup system variable set to 1, then you'll see this select template dialog box. Okay, and just double click on acad.dwt, and that will bring you into the into model space. Okay, and if you did not see the select template dialog box and instead saw the startup dialog box, let me turn mine on and restart CAD so we see the same thing. You may have seen this default settings here. If you did, just click on this button and then double click acad.dwt. That way we're all using the same template. Now acad.dwt is just a blank template that doesn't contain anything but one layer, basically. Okay, and you'll notice, by the way, my AutoCAD looks different than yours does because I have it only on half the screen. Alright, and let me go ahead and maximize that, because the first thing we need to do is actually create a layer. And you'll see the default layer is 0. Okay, but we want to create a new layer. Okay, and if you're using the technical drawing text by Giseki, we are going to create a the 14th edition. We're going to create a visible line layer. Okay, visible lines are used to draw the outside edges of objects. And if you turn to page 29, it's the on the top of the page there. Okay, you'll see the visible lines are drawn thick with an approximate width of 0.6 millimeters. What we're going to do is create a new layer with those settings. Okay, so I'm going to click on the layer properties button here on the layer panel of the home tab. You can also just type in layer in the command area and you'll get to the same place. This is the layer properties manager dialog box. Okay, so right now this is the 0 layer. This is the default layer that's created in the acad.dwt template. Okay, and you can see that it has some certain properties. You can move these and kind of see what these are. On just means that you can turn the layer on and off, and we'll get into that more later. Freeze. What we're really interested in now, we'll just kind of skip over those first 3, and we'll talk about color, line type, and line weight. Okay, if I were to draw a line in the 0 layer right now, it would have the color white, as you see here. It would be continuous. The line type would be continuous. In other words, there's no breaks or dashes or dots or anything like that in the line. It would just be a solid line. And the line weight would be a default line weight. The default line weight is basically just 0. Okay, so we want to create a layer with the visible line type. Okay, so let's create a new layer. So I can click on this button, or you can press Alt plus N on your keyboard, and you can create a new layer. And you can see that when I create the new layer, it has a name layer 1 by default, and it inherits the same properties as the layer above it. Okay, let's change some things. Alright, we don't want the layer 1 name. Let's make it visible. Okay, and let's change the color to red. Okay, by the way, these are the primary colors, so if I ever tell you to define a color yellow, use yellow here, don't use these yellows here. These are you can use these later on, but you always want to use the primary color palette down here first, and if you need some variation, it's available, but generally you want to use the colors down here. So I'm going to define the color as red and then press OK. The continuous line type, as you can see by the line in your book, is OK, and the line weight needs to be, and I just clicked on the default here, it needs to be assigned a 0.6 millimeter line weight thickness, so just press OK. Alright, so later on we'll create a template where the template will have all the common layers that you would generally use in a drawing. But for now I just wanted to give you a taste of how to create a layer. And to change the current layer, we want to double click on the layer here. And you can see the green check mark move from the 0 layer to the visible layer. So this is my current layer. So I can close the Layer Properties Manager dialog box. You can also change the current layer here. You can switch from 0 to visible and back and forth. Okay, so we want the current layer to be visible. Alright, so let me collapse my AutoCAD again and dock it on the, the right hand side of the screen. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to draw this using direct distance, which you're already familiar with, direct distance input. I do want to point out, if I haven't mentioned already, the application status bar. The only thing that's turned on is my endpoint, my object snap, and I'm mainly concerned with my endpoint object snap. Okay, nothing else is turned on. When I get done with direct distance, if you want to hang around, I will show you how to what's necessary to draw this using the snap mode and the grid. Okay, and again, snap mode, not talking about object snap, I'm talking about the actual like grid snap. Okay, so let's start off drawing this with direct distance. So I'm going to start the line command, and then anywhere in model space I'm just going to left click, and you know what, I actually need polar turned on. Let's turn on polar so I can get these nice, actually let's use ortho because we haven't used ortho yet. So I'm going to click on ortho. Remember, ortho allows us to go straight up and down and straight left to right, which is exactly what we want to do. So I just want to pull my crosshairs to the right and then type 4 and then enter. Okay, and if the line is very small or very long, you can zoom in or out and kind of reorient yourself, and you can pan. Okay, so I've drawn the bottom horizontal line here, so let's go from here to here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line straight up by 2. Okay, now you'll notice I have this angled line, but I'm not given an angle measurement. Okay, but what I am given are some linear dimensions. Okay, so the overall height of the object from here to here is 2.75, and I just drew a line from here to here, which was 2. So the vertical distance from this point to here is 0.75. Okay, so I think if I draw another line, 0.75, and then draw a line directly to the left by 1, and then go back to the endpoint of the 2 line, the line of length 2, then I've created that angle without actually having to measure the angle. Okay, so let's erase these 2 lines here. Okay, and then we can continue. So I want to go to the left by 1.5, and now we have the same situation. I have an angled line, but I don't have any angle measurements. Okay, so again, the distance from here to here is 2, as you can see by this dimension. The overall height, as I mentioned before, is 0.75. Excuse me. Now, the overall width of the object is 4. Well, I've already gone from the right to the left by 1 plus 1.5. So that means the horizontal distance from this edge to this point, basically from here to here, would be 1.5, because 4 minus 1.5 minus 1 is 1.5. So let me just draw a line to the left by 1.5 and then down by 0.75 and then back to the endpoint. Okay. Again, erase those 2 lines. And And if at any point you decide that you're not sure that you drew the line the correct length, you can just click on it, right click, and you can bring up the properties palette. And you can see that the length of that line is 1.5, just as it should be.